My name's Cornelius Wilson. I'm from South London and I am a first officer, or what they call a co-pilot, for a big British airline. The biggest plane I've ever flown is the one I currently fly. It's an Airbus A320, carries anything from about 150 to 210 people. Shortest flight, London to Manchester, 28 minutes. Longest flight we do on our fleet is London to Amman in Jordan, so we go to the Middle East, and that's probably in the region, depending on the wind, in the region of 4.5 to 5.5 hours. When it comes to flying and aviation, time is the base which we all use. We can't all work on our local times because we go from one country to another country and we cross time zones all the time. So we have to use what we call Zulu time, or universal time coordinate, which is like Greenwich Mean Time. So when I'm flying from London to Paris, I'll have 3 times in my head. I'll have aviation time, which is for us as pilots to use. We'll have the local time at the origin, and we'll have the local time at the destination. And hopefully you're on the ball when you give the passengers the updated time and not the wrong time. Lining up on the runway, if you're at Heathrow or something, you get the clearance to take off, and just putting those hand on thrust levers, and you've got 80 tons of aircraft behind you, massive, powerful Pratt & Whitney engines, and you're shoving on power, and you're up to 100 miles an hour before you know it, and then you'll be taking off, and that's the most liberating feeling, getting up into the air. So I think I've had a few hours left to experience flying. I'd bring back Concorde and fly backwards in time, because that's one of the most unique experiences, I think, the aviation world and us as people to understand, that we could take off from London and go to New York and gain 2 hours in the day because of the time difference and the fact it could fly at Mach 2, which is twice the speed of sound. Funnily enough, in the aviation world, we've gone backwards in time because we've actually slowed down. So I think I've had a few hours left to experience flying twice the speed of sound, and to gain 2 hours in your day is quite an extraordinary phenomenon. As we come through sort of the COVID pandemic, and the next crisis we're going to have to deal with as an aviation industry is the climate crisis, and that's going to play a huge importance on flying, the economies of flying, and the morality of flying. The industry has to go to a more fuel-efficient state. We're going to have to look at different sustainable fuel options, and you're going to have an increase in automation, so that'll be the sort of next challenge. There's buzzwords you don't mention. You never mention thunderstorms, you never mention crash, you never mention accident. You say slight technical issue. Never mention the word turbulence either. We might be going through a period of rain showers and may get a little bumpy, because it's all about keeping people assured, confident, and ultimately safe. That's our job as pilots, is to reassure people a lot of the time. They're so well maintained, these machines, that they don't go wrong often. So every 6 months we go into a simulator, and for 2 days we practice all of our emergencies, because we earn our money the day that everything goes wrong, basically. So day to day it's normally a bit of a breeze. So we are there to, in the sort of darkest day, if we lose an engine, or if we have a hydraulics failure, or something drastically goes wrong, that's when we sort of kick into force and we make sure everyone's safe, and that's what we practice. Practice makes perfect. So all pilots will know that they, especially with these light aircraft, you'll do what's called a practice forced landing. So you'll practice losing the engine, and you've got to find a field somewhere where you're going to land in an emergency. You don't have much time, and pick a field, put it in the field. Maybe not with an airliner.